I don't like to talk, I don't need your pity. Me and I'm a dog, got the keys to the city. Yeah, my lead better fit it. I just hit the ball, let the bin it.
You really think young Dolph got shot at 100 times in Charlotte and got shot in Hollywood by CMG and him and his people never retaliated? It sure seems like the city of Memphis is overwhelmingly on Flipper's side. Me too, I always liked young Dolph, but I wonder if that's only because nobody knew about things going on behind the scenes or that we didn't hear about it being done to CMG, because why were they so out to get him? I don't know. Not that I know anything, I'm just saying, just a guess, perhaps.
Oh, Jook get paid, bring the race in.
In this analysis, I'm going to use a few very key pieces of evidence and information that I found from 3 Memphis YouTubers: The Cussing Pastor, Real Talk with Tamara, and True Results. All 3 of their vlogs are linked in the description. Now, here are some of the key facts to establish the situation beyond rehashing the hit on Dolph itself. Fact number 1. Keon Wright, a vice president and road manager for CMG, appears from his prison records to have just completed, like a few weeks ago, serving 7 years on a 10 to 15 year plea for shooting up young Dolph's truck in Charlotte back in 2016. Remember the 100 shots that bounced off Dolph's bulletproof truck that Blac Youngsta was originally charged with doing? Well, if you thought that all just went away and was an unsolved mystery, let me refresh your memory. There was a van rented by a Mr. Sammy Benson, a.k.a. Blac Youngsta, and that was used in the attempted homicide. It was full of shell casings, maybe DNA evidence at a black college performance thing in Charlotte. And Youngsta was initially charged, but then he said that van had been stolen and Keon Wright took the fall. So you mean that the vice president of the same company that Blac Youngsta worked for happened to be the one who stole the van that he rented, and then he happened to use it to shoot up young Dolph's truck, and there's no conspiracy? That goes to show the power of serious money when you have top lawyers and a guy like Keon Wright willing to take a 10 to 15 year cop so Blac Youngsta, the artist, stays out of trouble.
What it do? Sport Vato, the OG, King the Loud with Rico Television, representing that motherfucking Kush County down here in Orlando, you know what I'm talking about? CMG till I die, cocaine, music, and you know what I'm talking about? Or you can say cars, money done. We're gonna kick this shit out tonight, you know what I'm saying? That club Roxy, Yo Gotti. My niggas gonna tell the motherfucking stage that we paint the city white. Goddamn it, if you on that white, take a line. Goddamn, if you on that brown, take a line. You know what I'm talking about? Just make sure you come to the club with them lines.
Fact number 2. Now that was a guy named Vaso, a.k.a. Corey McClinton, yet another CMG road manager. He was the guy charged with actually young Dolph at the intersection of Hollywood and Highland, a gigantic tourist intersection in L.A., back in September of 2017 around the Shoe Palace or the Lowe's Hotel. And this was just 6 months after the attempt on Dolph's life in Charlotte. Again, a CMG road manager slash vice president is charged with trying to murder Dolph. But this time, Dolph didn't make an identification. Well, he didn't in Charlotte either, but they didn't need one. And even though Dolph went in critical condition, charges were dropped after 48 hours on Avato.
The LAPD now wants to talk with rapper Yo Gotti following a shooting in front of Lowe's Hotel in Hollywood.
Mr. McClinton was held by LAPD for 48 hours and released without charges, presumably because Dolph would not identify him and there weren't any other good witnesses or precise enough camera footage. But 3 guys associated with Yo Gotti visually threw Dolph on the ground in a parking lot, put slugs in his body. They all got cuffed up on the scene. So it's an absolute fact that one person that's a part of CMG management pled guilty to an attempt on Dolph's life, and only the fact that Dolph refused to identify another CMG vice president road manager saved him from getting charged for the shooting in L.A. Now, speaking of Mr. McClinton, a.k.a. Vato, the Memphis vlogger True Results has our first piece of strange physical evidence. I'll leave you to be the judge. Okay, this is a photo that True Results created, obviously, side by side. So on the right, you have the guy charged for 48 hours in L.A. with shooting young Dolph, Vato, and standing on a stage behind him is his buddy he's RIPing. I guess he just passed away. And on the left is the close-up of someone with a COVID mask pulled down so you can see their face. Now, if you look, you'll notice how the left side of both of their mouths is crooked with like a missing tooth. Maybe like they got shot in the mouth or something back in the day. Are these guys the same person? Sure might be. The guy on the left with the COVID mask pulled down was milling around the crime scene at Dolph's homicide wearing a security outfit on. He was supposedly the security guard from the Family Dollar next to Makita's Cookies, which according to the same blogger, True Results, immediately closed. The Family Dollar closed, just like Makita's did. I don't know, is that true? If you're in Memphis, you can say if it's true or not. But this guy, who sure looks like the guy on stage with Vato, was milling around the Family Dollar acting like he was a security guard there. And I guess he looked through the footage enough to see him pulling down his mask for a second. And that's a weird facial feature to have. This True Results guy seemed like his whole blog is focused on justice for Dolph. I don't know if it's related to him or connected to him somehow. He actually claims his brother's house was recently shot at in Memphis because of his blog. I don't know if this is true. If he's hyping things up to get views. Doesn't seem like it. Now, Mr. Crooked Mouth is apparently dead, as Vato was giving him an RIP shout out. Like I said, I guess True Results, the vlogger, keeps an eye on Vato's page, and it went through his IG post, and he happened to see it, and he screenshotted him, saying RIP to this guy who looks like he was posing as a security guard at the site of Makita's and was also on stage with Vato. Pretty strange. I'll let you be the judge, but I thought he looked enough like him that it bears mention. Fact number 3, there's another small YouTube channel run by that woman, Real Talk with Tamara. She apparently was a civilian employee for the Memphis PD and still, of course, has friends at Memphis police, talks to them. She tries to get insider info from them. I mean, they don't spell things out, and she doesn't either, but she said right after the Jook hit that her police friend would just say one thing, that the hit on Jook was a message. Well, that means wasn't the point in and of itself. It was a message to someone else. Who would that message be to? Hold that thought. I was watching an interview with the Memphis blogger, Mr. Stan. What's his name? Old Main is Stan. And he was interviewing a guy named Mr. Ian, I guess, who had a popularity run some years back. And then he started ghostwriting for Yo Gotti. And he confirms the old rumor that he saw Big Jook take bowls, aka pounds of the reefers, from Dolph when Jook and Gotti were on the outs. Does that mean anything? Maybe.
If a nigga told you, hey man, look bro, man, Jook put a $40,000 hit on you, bro. Like, nigga, man, come on, bro, I'm standing on that. I ain't.
Fact number 4, Memphis comedian Grove Hero, who Dolph helped elevate into having a pretty big career, went on his IG Live, 6-8 months ago, and said that Big Jook, maybe more like 9 months ago, Big Jook put a $40,000 hit out. I think he meant on himself, Grove Hero, because he was talking so much about justice for Dolph and etc. Now, Grove Hero is someone from the same inner city area as Dolph and Youngsta and all the rest of them, and he's still around, and I'd be willing to give you pretty good odds if he heard that on the street it was true. When you put a hit out, the word floats around to the, in that community, and if you're in that community and people like you, someone's gonna call you up and tell you. I once had a friend of mine had a guy go try to put a hit out on him, and the hitter said, "You mean you want us to hit such and such from such and such street?" They knew him. They called my boy up and asked him what they wanted him to do. Of course, nothing happened. Moving on to fact number 5, more Big Jook. He had a 19-year prison sentence at one point. His sentence ended in July of 2012, the same year CMG did their deal with Interscope. And this, in this 2012 could mean his parole discharge or his prison release date or both, I'm not sure. As far as when he would have went to prison, well, in Tennessee, offenders generally have to serve between 30 and 60% of their time. Jook was young, it was probably drug case. So let's say he got 19, he did about 6 or 7 years. Just like Keon Wright. Definitely, as we saw, 8 the Charlotte shooting case so that Blac Youngsta could keep generating money for the collective as a CMG artist. People say that Jook took all the weight for some dope charges that could have also gotten Yo Gotti sent to prison, which of course would have derailed not only his career, but the whole CMG record label, which now exists. Remember, the year Jook got out is when they did their deal with Interscope. Yo Gotti has been putting music out for 27 years. His first song was called Creepin' from 1996 when he was 15, and he was known as Lil Yo. So by the time Jook would have taken a fall for him sometime in the early to mid-2000s, his brother had become Yo Gotti and would have had damn near a decade in the game already. So they had their long-term plan in place. And it sure looks like people are eating charges to protect Yo Gotti and the other artists of CMG thus far. Fact number 5. Now we're starting to get real interesting. Blac Youngsta. We get some juicy stuff courtesy of the infamous Cussing Pastor, another Memphis YouTuber. This is very strange.
Youngsta had a concert here on the 29th, I think, of October, which was a Friday, I think. Was okay. Youngsta was leaving out the FedEx Home in his truck, his armored truck. Got shot at. Got shot up over, where's it? Wilmington's or the truck? Where is it now? I get to that. It was downstairs this morning. Where's it now? I don't know. He called me. He called me that Saturday morning. He said, "Hey man, I need you to come pick up my truck and get it fixed." I said, "Nigga, I ain't no damn mechanic. You know what I mean? I can't fix your truck." He was like, "Man, my truck got shot up. I was in it. I need it fixed." And I said, "Okay, I know what this means. I got you."
Blac Youngsta's insurance agent showed up at the Cussing Pastor's house for some reason to tell him a story. Eric Winston is his name, and his father is a pastor there in Metro Memphis. He ran for county commissioner in Shelby County, the county Memphis is in, recently, and he lost only by about 20 votes. But apparently, so this Eric Winston was putting the insurance on Youngsta's little car fleet. Apparently, Blac Youngsta's bulletproof truck was riddled with bullet holes, just like Dolph's, but this time after a concert in their hometown in Memphis. It didn't make the news, so nobody knew about it. This was in late October of 2021. Dolph was taken out November 17th of 2021, just a couple weeks later. So if you wondered why, if this beef had been going on all these years, why the sudden desire to get him, maybe Dolph had just tried to get Blac Youngsta.
So then this stuff happened, right? And he called me at 3:15. You saw it. Mm-hmm. He said, man, where my truck? He called me and said, man, where my truck at? I said, shit, it's still where it was. I didn't come get that truck, man. I said, who you gonna send up here to get it? Because I know you're out of town. He said, nah, I'm here. I said, you here where? He said, I'm in Memphis. I said, youngster, is everything okay? Because I already knew what had happened. Hell, right up the street. I could hear the sirens and everything. I said, is everything like coming? He said, man, I need that truck and I need it bad. I said, but meet me up here tonight at about 6 o'clock so you can get that truck. He called me. And you see the planes on the 17th. 17th at 6:08. I said, but you in the city though? Yeah, I'm in the city. I'm trying to fly out. I'm trying to get out of here by tomorrow.
Now, as you can tell from this conversation, and please go over to the Cussing Pastor if you want to hear the whole thing and check out his page and check out Real Talk with Tamara and check out True Results. But the gist of this conversation is that Youngsta wanted the insurance agent to get his car fixed, get the bulletproof glass replaced because it doesn't. The bullets don't penetrate it, but it messes the car up, obviously. It leaves bullet holes or indentations, whatever. And suddenly, Youngsta pops back up, and he needs it immediately. And then he comes to pick it up, and he has an uncomfortable conversation where he says, I didn't do that. I don't care what they say.
He said, man, can I come upstairs for a minute? Came up here and sat down right there. Actually, came and sat down right there. I said, youngster, you all right? I looked at him just like that. I said, you all right? He said, I ain't do it. I said, do what? He said, I ain't do it. I don't care what they say, I ain't do it. I said, what are you talking about? Man, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I ain't do it.
So Blac Youngsta was in town when Dolph was hit. Oh, and if you didn't know, pretty much everybody has been living in Atlanta or somewhere else. Not Memphis. I mean, they're all on the road a lot, but they all live in Atlanta. Gotti, Dolph, Youngsta. It seems like they only pop into Memphis for funerals and to create funerals.
I said, youngster. I don't call him as a call Sam. I said, show him the picture of that car that they looking for. I said, who car is this? I don't know who car that is. So I did this right here. Hold it on, though. I said, don't know who car that is. I said, is that not a white Mercedes-Benz C300 that they looking for right now? He said, man, that's my girlfriend calling the policy. This is policy right here. All that. He said, I said, that ain't that car right there, that white car. Man, that's my girlfriend car you talking about. I said, youngster, are you all right? He said, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know nothing. I said, let me tell you this right here. You got me caught up in some shit right now. I said, that car that's in your name, that you got insurance on, that you wrecked last year when you called me and told me you wrecked it on the side behind the passenger door. Yeah, see, behind the passenger door. Okay. Yeah. I said, that car ain't but two doors. And ain't but two doors. But and on the passenger side, you can see where it's roughed up. I said, you should have got that car fixed. I said, now these niggas riding around in that motherfucking car. I said, best thing you could do right now is say that car's stolen. And I filed a report for it right now. I said, yeah, I ain't think this shit out, man. You fucked up. Man, I don't know what you're talking about, man. You need my keys so I can roll. I said, you in the car and you in town. Do you understand what I'm telling you? I said, God in Miami right now. And staying. I said, money bag in Atlanta right now. Lil Mino, another one they love crawling. I said, he in Atlanta right now. I said, but you the only motherfucker here right now. And that is your woman's call. Ain't your woman calling the news. I said, man, you need to get in that truck. And he stood up, just like this. He stood up right there. And he said, man, we've been through a lot together, and I love you. He said, man, I love you. Just like this. Like he knows him to that. I said, man, is everything out with you, man? He said, man, I gotta go.
Now, why Memphis small black business owner and son of a pastor, Eric Winston, came to add this conversation or took this conversation he had with Blac Youngsta to the cussing pastor who recorded it, I don't know. Maybe he was trying to protect himself, because he does say in the talk the cussing pastor recorded that he told Youngsta basically they'd file a false report, and which makes him subject to police pressure. Get on the witness stand against Blac Youngsta, or we're going to charge you with fraud. And yes, you heard correctly. So that's some little snippets. It's kind of long, but this part he talks about showing Youngsta the info on this white Mercedes and saying, oh, this white Mercedes, that's the prime getaway vehicle in the homicide of Dolph that we reported stolen, that's yours. So this pastor this insurance agent, they could say you're guilty of accessory after the fact, because they made a false police report about the white Mercedes being stolen. And where is the white Mercedes? Has nobody tracked the ownership of it? And Blac Youngsta owned it through somebody else, and then his insurance agent made a false police report about it being stolen. According to Real Talk with Tamara, and Memphis police told her they have over 1 million pages of evidence. So I'm sure everything I'm saying is sitting in all this evidence, and none of this is anything new, but thought I'd put it all in a nice package for YouTube. Now, Eric Winston, according to the cussing pastor, just served him with the restraining order. I don't know for what. I mean, the video's already, or the audio's already up on the internet. It's out for the world. I'm using it. I don't know what the hell he's trying to get a restraining for against the cussing pastor. They have their own little weird thing. Again, go to the cussing pastor, watch his channel. And yet more with Blac Youngsta. Back in August, Youngsta's brother was gunned down at 9:30 in the morning, rest in peace, at a gas station in Memphis under unclear circumstances. A clear photograph of the suspect was almost immediately released, and the U.S. Marshals currently have 2 warrants out for him. One for the second-degree homicide of Youngsta's brother, and another warrant is for the suspect, Randy Darnell Ewing, for being an absconded as the ex-offender. Mr. Ewing has yet again an arrest record that would have had him in jail in almost all, frankly, other places. Tennessee or Memphis seems pretty lax. There's all type of arrests. And he's still wanted over 6 months after appearing on the news. Marshals are looking for him. He's lasted a lot longer than the guys who hit Dolph went on the run for. From reading literally thousands of articles and cases, of course, this is what I do about crime, I could tell you the fact that a guy from the inner city wanted by the U.S. Marshals for a homicide at a gas station in the ghetto, being on the run for 6 months without getting caught, plus he's an SEX offender, is pretty damn rare. But maybe he has some wealthy family members hiding him out, or something like that. Now, let's not forget, tragedy strikes Blac Youngsta a lot. All jokes aside, this is the 3rd brother he's lost to homicide. The first one was back in 2016, probably before the Dolph beef. But his second brother to lose his life to gunshots in mysterious circumstances was named Heavy Camp TD. I don't know what happened with that. I couldn't even figure out his real name. I never saw was there any arrests made in his case. That happened down in Miami in 2019, which was about a year and a half after Dolph got in LA by Gotti's camp, but wouldn't make a statement. So what if Blac Youngsta, fresh off losing his brother and upset that CMG is seemingly distancing themselves from him as the trial date for Dolph's homicide approaches and a possible federal investigation looms? Youngsta's definitely been at the center of a few things. What if he decided to take out Jook? I'm not saying that. These are all just possibilities. Because Jook knew too much about his actions and could give him up to save his brother Yo Gotti and himself. After all, according to the Memphis vlogger Real Talk with Tamra, her contact at the Memphis PD, like I said to hit on Jook was to send a message. That message could be from Youngsta to Gotti that he better not forget about him and better not throw him under the bus because, once again, according to Ms. Tamra's police contacts, Blac Youngsta found Apple AirTags on his truck. Like someone's tracking him, but he lives in a gated community. He's got security. Who could have put him there? Someone close to him? Did he feel that Gotti and Jook were tracking him so they could notify somebody, like he was setting up to be backdoored so they could call it even on Dolph's revenge? There's all possibilities. I don't think any rapper signed to PRE did anything to Jook, but now, when cases involving a bunch of homicides start coming to trial, people start knocking off anyone that could turn on them. Like Remo, the mafia boss, said in Martin Scorsese's Casino, why take a chance? So to recap, Blac Youngsta only avoided charges for trying to murk Dolph in Charlotte because Keon Wright, CMG vice president, ate the case. According to the recording made by the insurance agent, his insurance agent, Eric Winston, his own bulletproof truck got shot up just a few weeks before Dolph got hit. So if Youngsta felt Jook was going to have to make a choice between him and his brother, well, perhaps he sent a message to Gotti by hitting his brother, or he thought Jook was setting him up to get backdoored. Oh, yet another weird thing. That white Mercedes that Eric Winston claims was Youngsta's car that was used in the Dolph hit, it was also used. Remember the Covington? Early on, those guys got arrested in Covington, or the Covington, Tennessee. Well, there were two older women that were gunned down by a young guy with a machine gun out of that same white Mercedes.
A Memphis man has been indicted in the murder of a Covington woman last fall. As WREG's Bria Jones explains, her children believe the possible connection to the slaying of young Dolph is helping solve the case.
Tied to crimes in Shelby, Tipton, and DeSoto counties, 23-year-old Trayon DeMarco Ingram is now charged in a fatal double shooting in Covington.
And it took a year for a guy named Trayon Ingram to be charged in that double homicide. Police initially said it was a gang war and it was mistaken identity because it was two older women. Remember, the same white Mercedes used in the Dolph hit. But one of the women victimized, a woman named Anita Wilson, had been arrested with Money Bag Yo and 50-some other people back in 2016 when the feds raided Money Bag Yo's album release party. I guess she was a party promoter. Stranger and stranger. Some people say Trayon Ingram was down with the Trilla Mafia, who, of course, the big theory is that the shooters came from the Trilla Mafia, and recently unalived CEO Teasy was possibly the leader of the Trilla Mafia. So this white Mercedes registered to Youngsta might have been used in 3 homicides? Wow. If what Winston's saying is true. I don't know it to be so. I'm not saying it is. Fact number 6, Hernandez Govan. Mr. Govan, a.k.a. Orange Mound Quet, has been officially charged for being a mastermind of a premeditated homicide as the one who hired straight-dropping Cornelius Smith, possibly through yet another middleman recently deceased. Who? CEO Teasy. So why is he out on a $90,000 bond? And why are the details of his bond sealed by the court? I think we can all probably put 2 plus 2 together. The streets certainly seem to think it equals 4, that he's made a deal or trying to make a deal. But he has a tragic asterisk to his situation. His own daughter, Destiny, a.k.a. Whole Lot of Cash Desto, she lost her life in Houston about 6 months after Dolph. A suspect in her homicide was apparently shot by Miss Destiny at the scene when these 2 young guys from Alexandria just hopped out of their car and ran up on her, and she exchanged shots with them. They took her out. One of them caught a bullet in the stomach. He was arrested across the street with the bullet in his stomach. He sat in custody for a year, and then well, I don't know if he dropped another name, but then a second guy was brought into custody about a year ago, which was a year after it happened. The second guy brought into custody now has a $500,000 bond. The first guy, the one who was shot in the stomach, only has a $150,000 bond. Once again, I'll let you do the math. Now, the most common theory for the situation with Dolph is that Straight Drop got hyped up to do the hit with hopes of a record deal and a payday. And this isn't Straight Drop's first rodeo doing something crazy in public. In 2017, maybe he got in an argument in a bowling alley and shot 3 people at the bowling alley, like in front of everybody. No one died. And again, Tennessee's criminal justice system, I don't know if they just don't have room in the jails. I mean, shooting 3 people over pretty much nothing will get you, that's even probably going to get you 10 years in Michigan. Some places, that might get you 40 years, 20 years. He got 5 years, and because he was doing so well in jail and he took some classes and stuff, they let him out after 6 months with probation. So I could see how he think he could get away with anything because he kind of already had. So Straight Drop supposedly got hyped up. There's all this gossip stuff about different rappers and who knew who. I'm sure you've seen all that. We won't go into that. But long story short, the bounty was supposedly $100,000 to $150,000. I don't know what. Orange Mountain Quet was supposed to get some. CEO Teasy. Some people say they stole, Straight Drop's share of the proceeds or most of it. Who knows? Now, according to all the streets of Memphis internet chatter, Orange Mountain Quet is definitely like that. And there's plenty of photos of Jook and Mr. Govan on the internet, and Mr. Govan with the Trilla Mafia. So the connections are all there. As the vlogger Real Talk with Tamara says, Straight Drop and Cornelius are their little branches of the tree. Hernandez Govan is the big branch. Big Jook is the trunk of the tree. But that leaves the root. And who is that? The Yo Gotti? Is it Blac Youngsta? Is it neither one of them? And these people are doing stuff on their own? Only time will tell. So, if Hernandez Govan is who can connect the shooters to Big Jook, and Hernandez is working a deal and is out on bond and thinks his daughter's death is related to all this, you could have thought CMG was coming for him next and made an aggressive move in advance, getting CMG's bagman street boss Big Jook out of the way and sending a message to Gotti that he wants lawyer money, he wants to be paid off. Man, Orange Mountain Quet is known to be like that. And if he's telling, hey, it's all the more reason to start knocking people off because you got the feds or the police, local police protecting you. And trust me, that type of stuff absolutely goes on. Just another theory, though. I have no personal knowledge that that's true. I think it's possible that the people around Yo Gotti, Blac Youngsta and Big Jook, maybe other people, took it upon themselves to do all this. Now, Gotti, of course, would have known what was going on, but if they never actually discussed it, then he's not guilty of anything because there's no such thing as an unspoken conspiracy. That's why you always hear the phrase, trained to go in the streets. If you're trained to go, I don't have to tell you to make a move on somebody. You know what you're supposed to do. But if I never tell you, then I'm not involved in a conspiracy. I mean, maybe you knew what had to be done without me telling you, but that don't play in court. You can't say, oh, I know from the way he looked, Al Prophet looked in my eyes, I knew he wanted me to kill him. They don't. And then we have our snake theory. Big Jook was hit to stop the risk of bringing other people into the Dolph conspiracy. Some people think that means Yo Gotti. In the last 2 days, Moneybag Yo, for some reason, has been posting texts he received from Big Jook, which was a piece of advice to trust no one, not even those closest to you or even family. Now, if Gotti knocked off his own brother, that would mean he also killed his mother's son, which is something worse, usually, than even knocking off your own brother. I mean, anything's possible. I'd be kind of very surprised. Now, about a month before all this happened, again, our friend Real Talk with Tamara had a blog about Moneybag Yo being upset at the lax security at CMG events where all the other rappers had too many of their entourage and flunkies around and there wasn't enough security. And I guess Moneybag Yo has been into it with a lot of people, and some people say he has a reputation of being a snake, according to some. Well, the hip-hop feds are probably in town in Memphis. A lot of conspiracy and RICO cases all around the country. The feds may decide, just like sometimes they go after the mafia. They went after the Mafia Commission in, 86? Rudolph Giuliani gave 3 of the 5 bosses 100 years in prison. They went around the country, made cases all over the place. They do that intermittently with the bikers. They've been doing it to street gangs. Maybe hip-hop's time is about to come. But Memphis has always been a very violent place. I was looking up homicide rates all the way back in 1929. Memphis was, I think, number 1 or 2 for homicide back in 1929, with the rate about the same, or it might be slightly higher than it is now. So violence in places like Memphis is it's the Memphis way. It was 100 years ago, Memphis was just as violent as it is now, but there's an awful lot of dead bodies swirling around CMG and PRE and just Memphis in general, but CMG in particular, and this whole Big Jook thing kind of brings it all to light. Kind of strange, something elaborate is going on behind the scenes. Same man, Memphis, American Dope, Al Prophet.